Are you ever afraid? I'm afraid of ending up alone. That is a line that is spoken by Ellie, and it rings home true for both her and Joel. Ellie has lost nearly every single person that has come into her life, and Joel having lost his daughter some 20 years ago during the fateful events of Outbreak Day. It is over the course of this 10 to 12-hour story that you will meet and develop relationships with a plethora of characters in The Last of Us Part 1 and find the answer to the question, what are you fighting for? Let's address the PC performance up front. It seems that the game either works or doesn't work for most people. I was more so in the first camp for my initial playthrough as I worked my way through. On a second run, though, the bugs and issues started to pile up a little more. And as of the recording of this video, Naughty Dog has put out a few patches, but I really do hope that this is something they can get ironed out because this game is too good to be left in that state. And given the technical issues aside, the game does look absolutely gorgeous and stunning with all of the PC settings turned up to ultra. And I will be talking about the game in a more broader detail, so spoilers I would say do follow. But having last played the first game in 2022, right before the release of Part 2, playing through the remake of Part 1 was something sort of special because HBO's fantastic adaptation of The Last of Us made playing this game. It made it hit so much harder. From the opening of the game with Sarah, Joel, and Tommy to the first introduction of Ellie, all of those scenes hit just as much more or even better knowing the fates of each of these characters throughout the respective journey. And I do use the word journey because that's the best way to describe this game and what it's like to play it, whether it's your first or 12th time. And I particularly would like to give a special shout out to the facial animations and the lighting department because this shit looks fucking mind blowing. I'm going to use this particular scene of Tess. Insane. That's the best way I'm going to put it. Differences are night and day. While the plot of The Last of Us is quite simple, it is the characters that really draw you in and that keep you invested. Throughout each of these levels, as we can call them, we are introduced to a character that makes us feel that they're real and authentic and not just thrown in for the sake of the plot or convenience. In Boston, we meet Tess. In Billstown, well, we meet Bill. In Pittsburgh, we meet Henry and Sam. And in Jackson, we meet Tommy and Maria. And in the winter, we meet David. And while we each have these moments, they are effectively side characters, and it is through these people that we learn the importance of the journey that Joel and Ellie are on.
Others? Shit. Go, go.
And that journey kicks off when we learn that Ellie, a girl that we've been tasked with smuggling out of the Boston QZ, is in fact immune to the cordyceps virus. And this is something that is unheard of in this time. And the leader of the Fireflies, Marlene, has tasked us, Joel and Tess, to basically get her out of the city. And we go ahead and we do so. And I like to bring up Tess because Tess is one of the first pivotal characters that we meet early on. It isn't explicitly said, but Joel and Tess seem to be in some sort of partnership relationship that was alluded to a lot more of in the show than it was in the game. And while working their way through Boston to meet a group of fireflies, Tess is bitten. And it is here that Joel realizes the seriousness of the situation.
Give me your arm. This was 3 weeks. I was bitten an hour ago, and it's already worse. This is fucking real, Joel.
I like to highlight Tess's death as something sort of pivotal in the game where it made Joel realize that he doesn't have anything else left for him in Boston. Tess was that last thing, and now that's gone. He has nothing left. And he's forced to take Ellie out west now. And here we end up getting to Billstown, and playing through it was definitely a stark contrast from how it was handled in the show versus the game. And I liked the game a lot more, but having rewatched the show after playing the game again, I think I like the show a little bit more, and then how it handled Bill and it allowed you to deconstruct his character. And yes, while Bill's town is very action heavy and combat heavy in the game, this show allowed you to slow down and learn more about Frank and Bill in a way that we might not have been able to, per se, in the game. And I like that stark contrast because while, yes, this is the instance where Bill did not have really any purpose anymore with Frank gone. If Joel were to keep going on without anyone or anything to fight for, like Bill did in the game, he would lose sight of the world and the reasons to keep on fighting. And here in Pittsburgh, we meet Henry and Sam, and their situation mirrors that of Joel and Ellie in so many ways, where the older sibling, in this case, is trying to take care of the younger one and shelter them from the horrors of the real world that we live in. And it isn't until Joel is ready to leave Ellie with his brother Tommy that he basically decides to open up to her. And it's not like he has as a choice. It's something that Ellie kind of forced upon him and that he'd previously kept something from her.
Not her, you know.
What?
Maria told me about Sarah.
Ellie?
And
You are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel. But I have lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you. So don't tell me that I would be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared.
You're right. You're not my daughter. And I sure as hell ain't your dad.
And Joel had never looked at Ellie as someone that he loved for or cared for. To her, Ellie was basically just cargo and the dying wish of Tess to get her to Tommy's. But he wasn't willing to let that end just now. And after some advice from Tommy, Joel and Ellie head on to Colorado State University. Go Bighorns. And there they find out that all the Fireflies have left and they have went to Salt Lake City. So after gathering that information, Joel is unfortunately impaled by a rebar, a piece of metal. And there Ellie then, it transitions to us playing as Ellie. And we have to hunt for food. And during this, we run into a character known as David. David's a piece of shit. Most of y'all know that. And I'm not going to sit here and go over. I'm just giving the brief overview of the sort of story so you have a gist. But it is after Ellie is able to secure Joel some medicine and get him somewhat in fighting shape that he's maybe 10-15%. He then goes and he tracks down Ellie after she's been captured by David's group, and he saves her.
Ellie! Stop! Stop!
Fucking touch me!
Okay, it's me. It's me. It's me. Look, look. It's me.
He tried to...
Oh, baby girl. It's okay. It's okay.
Joel.
It's okay.
And when the pair make it to Salt Lake City, they are separated, but when they do come to, Joel is being told by the Fireflies that in order to make the cure, they would need to remove the cordyceps from Ellie's brain. Doing so, unfortunately, would end up killing her. And in this moment, Joel does something that he wished he could have done 20 years ago.
Sweet Jesus.
Doctor?
What are you doing in here? I won't let you take her. This is our future. Think of all the lives we'll save.
No! You fucking animal!
Carrie, shut the hell up.
Come on, baby girl. I got you. I got you. Oh, shit.
And he saves the girl. Even though this one might not have wanted it, he made that choice for her. Because over the course of this trip and journey, he started to open up and care for Ellie, not just as cargo, but as a daughter. Someone that cared for him while he was bleeding to death, someone that he was able to teach rules of football again, someone that was worth fighting for. And I mention all of these points because even with a possible chance of saving the world, Joel decides on his own happiness than the safety of the world, even if it's not really what Ellie wanted. Moments like these are far and few in video games, and Joel did what any parent would do in that situation. And as we know in part 2, those actions do have consequences. The story of The Last of Us is a beautiful tale about love, sacrifice, and the things we will do to uphold it. And if you did make it this far, I thank you for taking the time out of your day, and this has been my review of The Last of Us Part 1 on PC. Thank you for watching.